Upgrades.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another JVS movie review brought to you from the Toronto Film Festival. This film here has possibly one of the strongest awards, pedigrees, cast, and director humanly possible in it. And this one is called Finestkind, and it's directed by Brian Helgeland, who he wrote LA Confidential, my favorite movie of all time. So you clearly understand what I think about him. And then we have Ben Foster, Toby Wallace, Jenna Ortega, and Tommy Lee Jones. And here's a quick synopsis. Two brothers from opposite sides of the tracks are reunited as adults, despite circumstances forced them into a deal with an organized crime syndicate in Boston, and a young woman gets caught in the middle. First, I've never seen a film with so many subplots in it. Or, better way to put it is, this movie should have been called The Series of Unfortunate Events, because it's nothing good that happens. This has to be the most bad luck group of people humanly possible. So when the film opens up and we see what's going on, we see Tom, played by Ben Foster, and his brother, Charlie, as Charlie's coming to him to get a job after just graduating college. And Tom's a fisherman, not looked at a noble profession, but definitely not looked at something someone out of college would do. And on his first voyage with his brother, after his brother did not want him to do it, but he allows him to do it with him, their boat sinks and are stranded in the middle of the ocean. This is within the first 10 minutes of this movie. They're stranded in the middle of the ocean. They have to be rescued. And then this is where we meet Tim Daly, who plays Charlie's father. Then we find out that Charlie and Tom have different fathers, same mother. And we understand at this point that Charlie has an opportunity to go beyond this. But he wants to fish because it gives him a thrill of life. In the middle of this, he meets Jenna Ortega's character, Mabel, who happens to be a drug dealer, the daughter of her mother, who's a drug dealer. It's every bad stereotype humanly possible is in Jenna Ortega's character. And immediately, it's from the onset, you know that Charlie's going to immediately fall for her. Makes no sense why he would, but clearly he's going to fall for her. And then that's when everything just starts going bad for Tom. And that's when Charlie's life choices make absolutely no sense for the entire rest of this movie. Every bit of setup here could have been a separate film. Charlie coming along with Tom to be a fisherman, to feel like he can do things on his own. Great story there. The brothers getting involved in something crooked and having to make a drug deal to get out of it. Completely different story there. Tom and his father, who is Ray, played by Tommy Lee Jones, and them trying to mend their fractured relationship through something horrible that's about to happen to Ray. Completely different story. Charlie, not wanting to live under his dad's shadow and wanting to do everything separate and not wanting to be his own man. Completely different story. All of those stories are combined into one movie here, and everything feels a mess. And every time we get to the crux of thinking this is a bad movie, but at least this can be enjoyable. Like early on in the first 30, 40 minutes, the fisherman story, I thought, man, this is going to be great. Like, it's not going to be a good movie, but it's going to have replay value and something that a lot of people are going to like. And then we get another unfortunate event that happens with Tom. And at this point, it's now Ray's boat, as Ray has given Tom his boat in a way that we kind of know something's wrong with Ray the moment we see him on screen. And then Tom makes a stupid decision, ends up in a worse situation. And then, wow, on to the next part of the story. And then another dumb situation, a dumb thing for Tom to do, on to another part of the situation. And then we're in the midst of all of these dumb decisions that Tom makes. We get Charlie doing some of the most horrible things over and over and over again. And it's supposed to be in a form of rebellion against his father. But it literally makes no sense for anyone to make the decisions that he makes in this movie. over and over and over again, he makes horrible, horrible decisions. I can't say what they are because boy was spoiled, and I don't want anybody to be spoiled by the awfulness that are these decisions that Charlie makes. But in the end, for this film, it's just too many storylines. With the pedigree of actors here, you would assume that this movie would be better. And I think that's the biggest issue here. Ben Foster has been, for the last 10 years or so, one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood. He's done roles that I believe he should have won Oscars for. So when I saw he was attached to The Finestkind, I'm thinking this is going to be great. Ben Foster does great work. He rarely ever misses. This is a huge miss, and I'm not going to say it's necessarily on him. It's just that it's too many different stories here. It felt like Brian had an idea of what he wanted the film to be. And then it felt like as the movie progressed, his idea changed a little bit. Then it changed again. Then it changed on what he wanted the characters to do. And all those changes made this movie suffer. Besides Ben Foster's Tom, no other character in this film is consistent or believable. I don't believe Toby as Charlie. I don't believe Jenna as Mabel. Tommy Lee Jones is just sulking through the entire film. He's not even putting on a performance at this point. He just looks angry most of the time. Like, you can tell when Tommy Lee's acting versus what we got here, which just felt like, I can walk through this and they'll pay me to be Tommy Lee Jones. That's what it feels like in this film. Too much of it is just too jumbled with too many different storylines. Ben Foster, as great of an actor as he is, it's almost impossible for him to carry this entire film because it's too many storylines for any good actor, any great actor to carry this film. So the flaw here is strictly that the plot is absolutely ridiculously bad. The story, even worse. Yes, we get some great shots. We get some great water shots, but none of it feels truly authentic because the characters don't feel authentic. And instead, we're left with a film that wants to be a mix of a family drama, a crime drama, and misses on both fronts. There was a film years ago with Mark Wahlberg called The Yards. And this movie is very similar to The Yards in the sense that it was just too much thrown in the movie and it completely brought the movie down. Here, it's just too many bad things. I would want to question, does Brian either not like Tom the character or Ben the actor, that he made horrible things happen to this man over and over and over again. And I don't know if that's supposed to show resilience, but that didn't show resilience. That just showed lazy plot points. And that's what you get out of this movie. But The Finest Kind, brought to you from the Toronto Film Festival and Paramount Plus, out of a possible 10, I'm going to give Finest Kind a 3.5 out of 10. Ben Foster does what he can do with this role. And I love to see him in anything. He brings a certain amount of realism to every role that he does. But here, he hampers everyone else because he is putting on a performance here as best as he can. The character of Tom is still written horribly, but he's putting on a performance that you would assume he thought this was a good script. Everyone else put on a performance like they knew this movie was going to be bad from the onset. And because of that, this movie struggles mightily until it gets to a conclusion that it's supposed to make you feel good. But I know even in the screening I went to, everybody just walked out like, oh, like this is the ending you're going to come up with here. Like it makes no sense after all the storylines that they threw at you, that none of them are done well. None of them are closed off well. It's just left with Finest Kind, which is a saying, not only on the boat, but a saying that fishermen say that can mean everything. It's kind of another word that Bernie Mac said years ago could mean a multitude of things. The Finest Kind is supposed to be the same thing, which still makes no sense to me. But let us know what you think when this drops on Paramount Plus. This has been another JVS movie review brought to you from the Toronto Film Festival. Peace, people.